not to get all blue and on with this, but I do think that Donald Trump wants a war, any war, where he can enact martial law, like any war whatsoever, so that there's no more elections, okay? Any war, whether it be a border war with Mexico, whether it be boots on the ground in Venezuela, whether it be drone strikes in Colombia, or whether it be civil war internally, like trying to foment some kind of civil war inside of America by sending the National Guard to different, like various different states, blue states, so that there is enough of a response that justifies even further militarization, and then all of a sudden everything erupts. I feel like he's just not, he does not speak like the type of person that is ever going to be reelected. He doesn't speak like he is worried about the future of the party. Now, that could be because he's a fucking narcissist and he doesn't give a shit what happens once he's out of office. Or that could be because he looks at the likes of Vladimir Putin and Recep Tayyip Erdogan and says, I want to be like that. I want to be a leader of this country no matter what, without elections or only fake elections until I die. And then I can pass it on to one of my fucking dumb fuck cocaine addicted fail sons. Your Constitution doesn't have that. You had elections during the Civil War is so funny, dude. I love that. I love the mentality. I love it, dude. You're right. You're right. You're so right. Wait, you're right. The Constitution. How could I have forgotten about the fucking Constitution? Why didn't I think of the Constitution? Excuse me, sir. I'll have you know this is illegal. Yeah, okay. You know what? You know the two most important parts of the American Constitution are the First Amendment, okay, and due process. Those are like fundamental, okay? It's more consequential and more significant than the Second Amendment is, all right? Regardless of how much people LARP about loving the Second Amendment to protect the First, right? Look what this administration is doing with that right now. They're wiping their ass with not just the fucking Constitution, but the Magna Carta, okay? So they don't give a shit. I don't think they give a shit at all about the Constitution. I think this is just about power. At this point, the Constitution is just a hurdle that they have to overcome. And they will do so by eroding it slowly but surely through a process of targeting people that are less powerful, right? Targeting people within the confines of the pre-existing permission structure. That's why you don't just go after the First Amendment immediately by arresting and prosecuting American citizens. You go after it by arresting and prosecuting and trying to deport non-citizens, legal permanent residents. Okay? That is how it starts. First, it starts with non-citizens under the guise of immigration enforcement, right? What he considers to be an area of strength for him and his base. Then it slowly but surely moves on from undocumented immigrants, which are still constitutionally protected, by the way, to documented immigrants. And then slowly but surely, we move towards a process of denaturalization, okay? All of these things are happening right now. And it's not like it's unforeseeable. They wrote it. They wrote it on a piece of paper and they released it on the internet. Okay, Project 2025, Project Esther. These are long-standing goals of this administration. These are long-standing goals of the Republican Party, the reactionary movement in this country. And they have been working for decades to implement these processes. The unitary executive theory is something that has been around since the 80s and 90s. At first, a whisper campaign, and now something that basically is unquestioned. A big part of the reason why Donald Trump can just like laser people. A big part of the reason why Donald Trump could just like laser people with his military off the coasts of Colombia and Venezuela is because of pre-existing attempts before him to give more unfettered, unrestrained power to the executive office. And the final safeguard that is supposed to exist within the judiciary is the Supreme Court of the United States. And we all know what happened there. It's over. The Supreme Court of the United States is completely captured. The very fact that the Democrats didn't do something about that by expanding the courts was a major mistake. It was a major failure.